This is Richard John, 1894, and I welcome you to my radio world, where every story echoes from the past. Good evening, listeners. This is your voice in the storm, Richard John, coming to you live from Horizon Radio. Tonight, we're facing a crisis unlike anything we've ever seen. Picture this, a sleepy fishing village off Greenland's icy coast, where the Earth itself decided to rewrite history. Deep beneath the ocean, a massive chunk of the seafloor bigger than a small city broke free in a violent shudder, sparked by tectonic forces we're only beginning to understand. That collapse unleashed a monster, a mega tsunami, a towering wall of water now racing across the Atlantic, threatening millions. This isn't a drill, folks. This is real, and it's coming fast. Let me set the scene for you. Satellites high above the Earth are tracking this beast, a wave so enormous it dwarfs anything in recorded history. We're not talking about a gentle tide lapping at the shore. This is a liquid juggernaut, hundreds of feet tall, moving at speeds that rival a jet plane. It's headed straight for the eastern coasts of North and South America, with western Europe and Africa in its crosshairs too. Smaller waves are rippling out, ready to swamp coastal towns worldwide. This is a global wake-up call, and the clock is ticking. Now, you might be wondering, why is this tsunami so different? Why isn't it fading as it crosses the ocean like others do? Well, let me break it down. The Atlantic Ocean is like a giant funnel. Unlike the vast open Pacific, the Atlantic shape traps and amplifies energy. Imagine shaking a bucket of water versus a kiddie pool. The bucket's going to make a bigger splash. That underwater landslide off Greenland? It was like dropping a mountain into that bucket. The energy from that collapse is being squeezed, focused, and supercharged by the Atlantic's narrow basin. Scientists say the ocean's depth is acting like a pressure cooker, keeping this wave's power locked in, preventing it from slowing down. It's almost as if the sea itself is guiding this titan right to our doorstep. I wish I could show you the satellite images, folks, but trust me, they're chilling. Online, people are sharing photos of what looks like a liquid mountain, a wall of water so vast it's being called the Leviathan wave. Experts are saying this is the biggest tsunami ever recorded, and it's not just a threat to one place. From the rocky shores of Newfoundland to the sunny beaches of Brazil, from the cliffs of Ireland to the ports of Morocco, this wave is a global menace. Even far-off coasts will feel its wrath in some form. Coastal cities, places where millions call. Home could be erased in a matter of hours. Right now, authorities are screaming for people to evacuate. Get out. Get to high ground. Do it now. That's the message blasting across every channel. But here's the heartbreaking reality. The roads are a nightmare. Picture this, family in a minivan, kids in the back seat clutching stuffed animals, stuck on I-95 in a sea of brake lights. Traffic cameras show gridlock stretching for miles. In Connecticut, the Merritt Parkway is a parking lot. In New Jersey, the turnpike is frozen, with delays stretching up to 6 hours. Route 17 in New York, its chaos, accidents abandoned. Cars and desperate people walking, carrying backpacks and babies, searching for safety. The panic is real, and it's tearing at the heart of every community in the wave's path. Here at Horizon Radio, we're safe for now, high above the danger zone. But let me tell you, reporting this feels like a punch to the gut. The latest models paint a grim picture. In low-lying areas, this tsunami could surge 30 to 60 miles inland, swallowing entire towns. Imagine your neighborhood, your favorite coffee shop, your kid's school gone under a relentless flood. It's hard to process, but we have to face it. We have to stay strong and keep moving. Listeners, if you're near the coast, don't wait. Grab what matters, your loved ones, your pets, and head for higher ground. The Mega Tsunami, a wall of water born from a catastrophic underwater landslide off Greenland, is barreling toward coasts worldwide, and the clock is ticking. We're talking about a disaster so massive it could redraw maps, swallow cities, and change lives forever. Places like the Outer Banks in North Carolina, the Florida Keys, the sandy shores of New Jersey, and the hamlets of Long Island are staring down the barrel of nature's fury. These areas are in the bullseye, facing waves that could surge miles inland, not just a few blocks, but entire towns deep. Here at our studio, we're about 70 miles inland, just beyond the danger zone. And let me tell you, we're grateful to be broadcasting from a safe perch. But our hearts are with every soul out there fighting to survive. To give you a clearer picture of the chaos unfolding. We're heading up to our eyes in the sky, our chopper team, led by the one and only DJ Skyhawk, hovering somewhere near the endangered coastline. They're risking it all to bring you a first-hand look at the ground below. DJ Skyhawk, you there? Paint us a picture. What's happening out there? DJ Skyhawk. Yo, Alex, what's good? This is DJ Skyhawk, your man in the clouds, riding high in the Skyhawk chopper with my crew. Shout out to Lil Zoom, Big T, and our pilot, Captain Crunch. We're circling just off the coast, and let me tell ya, the scene down there is straight out of a blockbuster disaster flick, but way too real. It's pandemonium, fam. Thousands of folks are scrambling to get out of Dodge cars jammed bumper to bumper, horns blaring, people running on foot with kids on their shoulders, clutching whatever they could grab. I saw one guy sprinting with a flat-screen TV under his arm, another dude just chilling on a surfboard like he's waiting to ride the wave of the century. It's wild, chaotic, and heartbreaking all at once. Richard John, that's hard to hear, DJ. Can you see any sign of the tsunami itself? Any hint it's getting close? DJ Skyhawk. Nah, Alex, the ocean's playing it cool for now. It's just doing its usual thing, waves rolling in, rolling out, looking all innocent. But the vibe? It's off. The seagulls are gone, man. Those birds know something's up. They're smarter than half the people down there. The only scary thing I'm seeing, besides the mass exodus, is some dude rocking socks with sandals. I mean, if that ain't a sign the world's ending, what is? Chuckles nervously but seriously. The calm out there is eerie. It's like the quiet before a storm that's gonna rewrite history. Richard John, we've heard reports of unrest breaking out, looting, fights, chaos in some areas. Are you seeing anything like that from up there? DJ Skyhawk. Oh, you know it, Alex. Some folks are using this crisis as a free-for-all. Down below, I'm seeing smashed storefronts, people running out with armfuls of stuffed TVs, clothes, you name it. There's a group tossing bottles at a corner store, and I swear I saw a fist fight over a shopping cart. It's like the rules got thrown out the window. Now, I gotta give a quick shout out to my crew back home, Skinny Pete, Ricky Ray, Bat Jones, Turkey Dog, and my mama. Keep it real. But listen, I ain't about that looting life. If my boys are out there, keep it chill, all right? Though, if you spot some fresh kicks in a size 10, maybe slide 'em my way. Laughs nah, I'm kidding, Alex, mostly. Richard John, sternly DJ. Let's be clear, we do not condone any criminal activity, period. This is a tough enough situation without people making it worse. Please, everyone, focus on safety, not chaos. DJ, don't encourage that behavior. DJ Skyhawk. My bad, Alex, you? Right. I'm just trying to keep the vibes up here in the chopper. We're all a little shook, you know, but we're keeping it professional mostly. Laughs don't worry, we got this. Richard John. All right, DJ, we trust you to stay safe up there. That wave is predicted to reach insane heights, hundreds of feet in some spots, so keep an eye on your altitude and fuel. What's your plan as this thing gets closer? DJ Skyhawk. Yo, Alex, don't stress. We're a crew of pros, well, pro adjacent. Captain Crunch has this chopper purring like a kitten. And we're stocked for the long haul. We got snacks for days, pretzels, chips, and a dip lineup that's straight fire. Spicy buffalo, cheesy queso, zesty whack, you name it. We're even toasting with some sodas to keep the spirits high. Our plan? Stay airborne, keep filming, and bring your listeners the raw, unfiltered truth of what's coming. We're gonna capture every second of this beast when it hits, from the safety of our sky palace. But real talk, Alex, it's wild to think about what's coming. In less than an hour, this coast could be underwater. Forget streets packed with taxis or kids riding bikes. We might be looking at schools of fish swimming through what used to be Main Street. I'm picturing dolphins flipping where coffee shops used to be, jellyfish floating past streetlights. And don't get me started on the wildlife this wave. Could yeet a shark or a swordfish through the air like a missile. Imagine a pointy-nosed fish blasting through a billboard at 600 miles an hour. That's the kind of crazy we're bracing for, Richard John. That's a vivid picture, DJ, and not a comforting one. Listeners, if you're just tuning in, we're tracking a mega tsunami that could devastate coasts across the globe. Our chopper, team led by DJ Skyhawk, is giving us a live look at the chaos unfolding below. DJ, keep us posted, and please, stay safe up there. DJ Skyhawk. You got it, Alex. We're locked in, ready to ride this out, and bring y'all the story as it happens. Skyhawk out. Richard John. Folks, the situation is dire, but we're here to guide you through it. If you're near the coast, don't wait, get to high ground now. Pack what you need, grab your loved ones, and move. From the rocky shores of Maine to the sun-soaked beaches of Florida, from the cliffs of Western Europe to the ports of Africa, this is a disaster of biblical proportions. Lives hang in the balance, and every second counts. We're here to guide you, inform you, and keep you connected as this nightmare unfolds. Before we dive into the latest updates, I need to address what just happened with our chopper team, DJ Skyhawk and his crew. Their last report was, let's call it colorful, and not exactly what we'd hoped for in a moment this serious. Spilling drinks in the cockpit, joking about looting. That's not the standard we set here at Horizon Radio, and we apologize to you, our listeners, for that lapse. We'll check back with them when the wave nears land, and I'm counting on them to step up and deliver the professional coverage you deserve. This is a life or death situation, and we're all in this together. Automated voice, calm but firm. This is a nationwide emergency alert system message issued by the National Weather Service and the Federal Emergency Management Agency. A tsunami warning is in effect for the entire east coast of the United States, from Maine to Florida, and extends to all Atlantic coastal regions worldwide. A catastrophic seismic event in the Atlantic Ocean has triggered a tsunami of unprecedented scale. This wave, projected to reach heights of several hundred feet upon landfall, will strike within the hour. Widespread, life-threatening damage is expected. This is not a drill. Evacuate immediately. Richard John. Folks, you heard it. This is as real as it gets. The numbers are staggering. Scientists are calling this the largest tsunami in recorded history, dwarfing anything we've ever faced. Coastal communities are staring down total devastation. Places like Bar Harbor in Maine, Cape Cod in Massachusetts, the Jersey Shore, the Outer Banks of North Carolina, and the Florida Keys are in the direct path of this liquid juggernaut. But no coastline is safe, not in the Americas, not in Europe, not in Africa. Even areas far from the epicenter will feel the ripple effects of smaller, but still deadly waves. Let me paint a picture of what's at stake. Imagine a sleepy beach town, kids building sandcastles, retirees walking their dogs, fishermen hauling in their nets. In less than an hour, the town could be gone, swallowed by a wall of water taller than a skyscraper. Homes, schools, hospitals erased. The force of this wave could push inland for 50, 60, even 70 miles in low-lying areas, turning highways into rivers and neighborhoods into underwater graveyards. This isn't just a wave. It's a force of nature rewriting the world as we know it. .so, what do you do? The authorities are crystal clear. If you're within 50 miles of the coast, evacuate now. Don't pack your photo albums. Don't wait for one last look at the ocean, just go. Get in your car, hop on a bus, ride a bike, or start walking. Every step inland is a step toward safety. The farther you get, the better your odds. If you're in a city like Boston, New York, or Miami, head west or north, away from the shore. If you're in a rural area, find the highest hill or ridge and climb. Time is your enemy right now. If you can't get inland, maybe you're stuck in traffic, or you don't have a car, find the highest ground possible. Look for tall, sturdy buildings, think concrete office towers or parking garages, and get to the top floors. In some towns, there are tsunami evacuation zones marked with signs. Head there if you can. If you're near a natural hill or mountain, climb as high as you can. Do not, I repeat, do not stay near the coast thinking you can ride this out. This wave will not spare anything in its path for those who can help others. Check on your neighbors, especially the elderly, people with disabilities, or families with young kids. Offer a ride, lend a hand, carry a bag. Every small act of kindness could save a life. If you're driving, be patient in the gridlock. We're hearing reports of highways like I-95 and the New Jersey Turnpike at a standstill, with families abandoning cars to flee on foot. Stay calm, stay focused, and keep moving. Stay connected to official channels. Keep your radio tuned to Horizon Radio or your local station. Check government websites if you have internet, but be ready for network congestion. Cell towers are overwhelmed. If you get a mobile alert, read it carefully and follow instructions. Knowledge is power, and we'll keep feeding you every update. We get if the worst happens and you can't evacuate before the wave hits, there are last resort steps you can take. Find a strong, multi-story building and climb to the highest floor. Barricade yourself if possible, block doors with furniture. Stay away from windows. If you're caught in the open, look for something that floats, a piece of wood, a plastic bin, even a car hood, and hold on tight. Protect your head from flying debris. Use your arms, a backpack, anything you've got. And as hard as it sounds, try to stay calm. Panic clouds your judgment, and you need every ounce of clarity to survive. After the first wave, don't let your guard down. Tsunamis often come in sets, and the first wave might not be the biggest. Stay where you are until authorities give the all clear. Avoid damaged areas. Buildings could collapse, power lines could be live, and floodwaters might be contaminated with sewage or chemicals. If you or someone near you is hurt, administer first aid if you can. but don't take risks to reach a hospital until it's safe. Report damage to local officials when possible, and conserve what you have: water, food, blankets. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Host Richard John. You're listening to Horizon Radio, and I'm Richard John, bringing you live updates on the Mega Tsunami racing toward coastlines worldwide. That was the fourth emergency alert we've broadcast in the last hour, and the situation is growing more dire by the minute. This isn't just a wave, it's a global catastrophe, born from a massive underwater landslide off Greenland's coast, triggered by seismic activity unlike anything we've seen before. It's now less than an hour from slamming into the eastern seaboard of the United States, and the fear is palpable. Our thoughts are with every family, every community, fighting to survive this nightmare. Co-host Emma Collins. Alex, we just got a chilling update. Reports are coming in live that the leading edge of this tsunami has been spotted off the northeast coast of Canada. Initial estimates say it's going to smash into Newfoundland and Labrador in the next 10 minutes. 10 minutes. It's surreal to even say that out loud. This thing is moving at speeds we can barely comprehend, like a jet tearing across the ocean. Richard John. It's mind-boggling, Emma. Calling this a wave feels like an insult to its power. This is a liquid titan, hundreds of feet tall, charging toward land with the force of 1,000 storms. Satellite images are flooding the internet, and let me tell you, they're nothing short of apocalyptic. The sheer size of this thing, it's like the ocean itself has risen up to swallow the world. If you haven't seen these images, check online, but brace yourself. The word insane doesn't even begin to cover it. Emma Collins. The panic is spreading, and it's not just here. In the US, Canada, Iceland, Western Europe, Northwestern Africa, even parts of South America, every coastline is on edge. Evacuations are in full swing, but the heartbreaking truth is, for many, it's already too late. This tsunami doesn't play by the rules. Canada and Iceland, being closest to Greenland, are about to take the first hit, and it's going to be devastating. Richard John. Exactly, Emma. This disaster started with a colossal landslide, a chunk of seafloor the size of a small country collapsing into the Atlantic. Landslides like this are rare, almost mythical, but when they happen, they rewrite geography. Canada and Iceland are in the direct line of fire, but don't think distance will save the rest of us. Experts are warning that countries farther away like the US, the UK, and beyond could face even worse impacts. It sounds counterintuitive, but there's science behind it. Emma Collins. I've heard bits of this, Alex, but you're the science nerd here. Break it down for us. Why is this tsunami hitting harder the farther it travels? Richard John. All right. I'm no geologist, but I'll do my best to make this clear. Normally, a tsunami loses steam as it crosses the ocean. The energy spreads out. The wave gets smaller, like ripples fading in a pond. But this beast? It's breaking all the rules. The Atlantic Ocean's floor isn't just a flat surface. It's a maze of underwater ridges, trenches, and plateaus. What scientists call bathymetry, think of it like a giant lens under the water. When that landslide hit, it sent out a wave with a specific wavelength, and as it travels, the ocean floor is acting like a magnifying glass, focusing and amplifying the energy. Picture this. The wave's energy is being squeezed and shaped by these underwater features, like water, funneling through a hose. Instead of spreading out, it's getting tighter, stronger, faster. The Atlantic's unique shape, narrower and shallower than the Pacific, is turning this tsunami into a supercharged engine of destruction. Scientists say it's not just maintaining its power, it's building intensity as it crosses the ocean. That's why models predict the U.S. East Coast could face waves even bigger than those hitting Canada, potentially multiple waves. Each. One a sledgehammer, Emma Collins. That's terrifying, Alex. So, Canada's about to give us a preview of what's coming. And it's not going to be pretty, Richard John. Exactly. The impact in Canada will be catastrophic, but it's also a grim warning for us. When this wave hits Newfoundland, it'll give emergency services here a tiny window to react, though, with a wave moving this fast. That window is more like a sliver. The unique geology of the Atlantic, combined with the sheer scale of that Greenland landslide, has created what experts are calling a perfect storm. It's a phrase we've heard before, but this time, it feels like an understatement. Emma Collins. I keep pinching myself, Alex, hoping this is a bad dream. The word apocalyptic is being thrown around, and I hate it. In a movie, it's thrilling. In real life, it's paralyzing. I can't imagine what people on the coast are feeling right now, stuck in traffic, running for their lives, praying they'll make it to safety. Richard John. It's heartbreaking, Emma. From Maine to Florida, families are fleeing, carrying kids, pets, whatever they can grab. We're hearing stories of gridlock on every major highway, I-95, the New Jersey Turnpike, Route 1 in Florida. It's chaos. People are abandoning cars, walking miles with backpacks, trying to reach higher ground. And it's not just here. In Lisbon, Dublin, Dakar, Rio, coastal cities worldwide are in the same boat, staring down the same monster, Emma Collins. And yet, here we are, safe in our studio, miles inland. It feels wrong to be so far from the danger, but we're doing everything we can to keep people informed. To everyone out there evacuating, our hearts are with you. We can't imagine the fear, the uncertainty, but know that the entire nation, heck, the entire world is rooting for you, Richard John. Absolutely, Emma. If you're on the coast, don't wait. Get inland, get to high ground, and do it now. If you're stuck, climb to the top of a sturdy building or find a hill. If you're in a car and traffic's not moving, use your judgment. Sometimes walking is faster. Stay calm, even though that's easier said than done. Panic won't help, but clear thinking might save your life, Emma Collins. We're also getting word that the White House is preparing to address the nation. The president is expected to speak any minute now, and we'll cut to that live as soon as it happens. This is a moment where leadership matters, and I know millions are waiting to hear what's next, Richard John. That's right, Emma. We'll bring you the president's address the second it starts, so stay tuned. If you're somewhere safe, keep your radio locked on Horizon Radio. If you're evacuating, focus on getting to safety, but know we're here, updating you every step of the way. To those in the danger zone, you're not alone. Your courage, your resilience, it's inspiring a world watching in Emma Collins. Hold on, Alex, we've got confirmation. We're going live to the White House, where the president is about to speak. Let's listen, Richard John, my fellow Americans. Moments ago, we broadcast the president's address from the White House, a sobering call to action as this unprecedented disaster looms. The wave, born from a catastrophic underwater landslide off Greenland, has already struck Canada, and it's now racing toward the U.S. East Coast, Western Europe, Africa, and beyond. This is a global crisis, and we're here to keep you informed. Connected and hopeful, even in the face of unimaginable odds, co-host Emma Collins. Alex, I'm still reeling from the news that just broke. The tsunami has hit Canada, Newfoundland, and Labrador, to be exact. Early reports are staggering. The wave reached heights of up to 700 feet as it roared toward the shore. 700 feet. That's taller than most skyscrapers, dwarfing initial. Projections of 400 to 500 feet. It's now barreling towards DT. Pierre and McQuillan, and from there, it'll tear along the Canadian coast, hitting Nova Scotia next. The worst part, experts say this wave isn't slowing down, it's getting stronger and faster. Richard John. It's almost impossible to wrap your head around, Emma. This isn't just a wave. It's a force of nature unlike anything humanity has faced. To put it in perspective, a 7-foot wave could submerge entire cities, erase coastal towns, and reshape the landscape for generations. And here's the gut punch. The models suggest the wave hitting the U.S. East Coast could be even bigger. Multiple waves, potentially larger than the first, are expected to follow, each one a hammer blow. If Canada is facing 700 feet, God only knows what we're in for. Emma Collins. The president's speech laid it bare. This is going to be devastating. He didn't sugarcoat it. Lives will be lost, cities will be wiped out, and the recovery will be a long, painful road. But he also called for resilience, for unity, and for action. Alex, let's unpack what he said, and what it means for the millions of people in the danger zone right now. Richard John. Absolutely, Emma. The president painted a grim picture, but he was clear about the stakes. This tsunami, triggered by seismic activity and a massive landslide off Greenland, is moving at jet engine speeds faster than anyone predicted. It's not just one wave, but a series of them, each potentially more destructive than the last. He emphasized the urgency of evacuation. If you're within 50 miles of the coast, you're in danger. That's not an exaggeration. Low-lying areas could see water surge 60, 70, even 80 miles inland, swallowing everything in its path. The president also pointed to the chaos on the ground, gridlock clogging highways like I-95, the New Jersey Turnpike, and Route 1 in Florida. Families are stuck, some abandoning cars to flee on foot, carrying kids, pets, and whatever they can grab. It's a scene of desperation, and time is running out. He urged people to act decisively. If traffic isn't moving, get out and run. Find higher ground, hills, tall buildings, anything that puts you above the flood. This wave won't wait, and neither can you. Emma Collins. What struck me was the president's bluntness about the human toll. He said people will die too many, won't escape in time. That's a hard truth to hear, but it's real. The lack of warning, the sheer speed of this disaster, it's overwhelming. He mentioned the idea that this could have been prevented, blaming Denmark for neglecting Greenland's seismic monitoring. That's a controversial take, and I'm not sure it helps right now, but it shows how raw emotions are running. Richard John. It's a divisive point, Emma. The president suggested that if the U.S. had control of Greenland, we'd have had better monitoring to predict this landslide. He held Denmark responsible, even demanding they pay for the cleanup. That's a bold stance in a moment of crisis, and it's sparking debate online. Some agree, saying negligence played a role. Others call it a distraction from the immediate need to save lives. What's undeniable is that this landslide, a chunk of seafloor the size of a small country collapsing, was a freak event, and no one saw it coming at this scale. Emma Collins. Let's focus on the science for a moment, because it explains why this tsunami is so relentless. Alex, you've been diving into this. Why is this wave not just a one-and-done disaster? Why is it hitting harder as it travels? Richard John. Great question, Emma. I'm no scientist, but I've been talking to experts, and here's the breakdown. Normally, a tsunami spreads out as it crosses the ocean, losing energy like ripples in a pond. This one's different because of the Atlantic's unique underwater landscape, its bathymetry. The ocean floor is a maze of ridges, trenches, and plateaus that act like a giant lens, focusing the wave's energy. When that landslide hit off Greenland, it unleashed a wave with a specific wavelength, and as it travels, these underwater features are compressing and amplifying it, like squeezing water through a fire hose. Think of the Atlantic as a natural amplifier. The wave's energy isn't dissipating, it's building, accelerating, and getting taller. That's why Canada's 700 foot wave is just a preview. The U.S. East Coast, Western Europe, and Africa could see even bigger waves, potentially 800 or 900 feet in some areas, especially where the coastline funnels the water inward. And it's not just one wave. Tsunamis often come in sets, and the second or third wave can be the deadliest. The underwater topography is turning this into a multi-stage catastrophe, and we're bracing for the worst. Emma Collins. That's chilling, Alex. And the speed, it's not just the height, but how fast. This thing is moving. We keep hearing jet engine speeds, but reports now say it's even quicker, maybe 600 or 700 miles per hour. That's faster than a commercial plane. No wonder evacuations are struggling to keep up. Richard John. Exactly, Emma. At that speed, the wave crosses the Atlantic in hours, not days. It hit Canada just moments ago, and it's already eyeing Nova Scotia's DT, Pierre, and then the U.S. East Coast. Places like Maine, Massachusetts, New York, and Florida are scrambling, but the clock is merciless. We're also hearing that the waves picking up debris trees, ships, even buildings, turning it into a battering ram of water and wreckage. It's a nightmare scenario. Emma Collins, let's talk about what people can do, because that's what matters most. The president's message was clear. Move inland, get to high ground, and do it now. But with highways jammed and panic setting in, what are the practical steps? Richard John. Right, Emma. If you're within 50 miles of the coast, evacuate immediately. Don't wait for one last look at the ocean, or to grab your valuables, just go. Use any transportation you have. Car, bus, bike, or your own 2 feet. If you're in a city like Boston, New York, or Miami, head west or north, away from the shore. Rural areas, find the highest hill or ridge and climb. Every step inland reduces your risk if you're stuck in gridlock, and we know millions make a tough call. If traffic hasn't moved in 10 minutes, consider abandoning your car. Grab your essentials water, a phone, sturdy shoes, and start walking or running. Look for side roads or paths that might be less congested. If you can't get inland, find the highest ground possible. A tall, concrete building like an office tower or parking garage. Climb to the top floors and stay away from windows. Some coastal towns have tsunami evacuation zones. Look for signs. Or ask locals, Emma Collins. And don't go it alone if you can help it. Check on neighbors, especially the elderly, people with disabilities or families with kids. Offer a ride, carry a bag, or just stick together. Community is everything right now. I've heard stories of strangers helping strangers, people sharing. Water, giving up seats on buses. That's the kind of humanity we need, Richard John. Absolutely, Emma. If you're safe and far inland, consider how you can help later, donating supplies, volunteering, or supporting relief efforts. But for now, if you're in the danger zone, focus on survival. Stay tuned to radio stations like ours or check government websites if you have internet. Cell networks are overloaded, so don't rely on calls, text if you must. Mobile alerts are going out, but they might be delayed. Emma Collins. What about those who can't evacuate in time? The president didn't dwell on it, but we know some people are trapped. What's their best shot? Richard John, it's a last resort, Emma. But if you can't get out, vertical evacuation is key. Find a sturdy, multi-story building, think concrete, not wood, and get to the highest floor. Barricade doors with furniture. Stay away from glass and brace for impact. If you're caught in the open, look for something that floats, a log, a plastic bin, a car hood. Hold on tight and protect your head from debris with your arms or a backpack. Staying calm is critical. Panic clouds your judgment, and you need to think clearly to survive. After the first wave, don't assume it's over. More waves could follow, and they might be bigger. Stay put until authorities give the all clear. Avoid damaged areas. Buildings could collapse, power lines could be live, and floodwaters might carry toxins or sewage. If you're injured, apply first aid if you can, but don't risk moving until it's safe. Conserve water, food, and energy. You might be on your own for days. Emma Collins. Alex. The president also talked about rebuilding new cities, new communities. He even mentioned names like Trumpton or Trump City. It's a bold vision, but it feels so far away when people are just trying to survive the next hour. Richard John. It's a stark contrast, Emma. The idea of rebuilding is a glimmer of hope, but right now, survival is the priority. The president's confidence will build better. Stronger resonates with the American spirit, but the loss we're facing is staggering. Entire towns, historic landmarks, homes filled with memories gone. Yet, he's right about one thing. We won't give up. We'll mourn, we'll rebuild, and we'll honor those we lose by making something new. Emma Collins. I want to circle back to Canada, because the news there is a wake-up call. A 7.0 foot wave is beyond comprehension, and it's not even the biggest we've seen historically. The president didn't mention it, but you've talked about the 1958 Lituya Bay tsunami in Alaska, where a wave hit 1,720 feet. Is that a fair comparison? Richard John. It's a useful reference, Emma, but it's different. The Lituya Bay tsunami, triggered by a landslide on July 9, 1958, was confined to a narrow fjord, so its impact was localized. It stripped trees off mountains and sank boats, but it didn't threaten entire coastlines. This mega tsunami is global, affecting millions across continents. The 7.0 foot wave in Canada is already massive, but what's coming for the US and Europe could push the limits of what we thought possible. It's a new chapter in human history, and not one we wanted to write. Emma Collins. We're also getting reports that this wave is carrying more than just water. Debris, trees, cars, even buildings is turning it into a deadly battering ram. And the speed, it's now clocking in at over 700 miles per hour in some areas. That's faster than a fighter jet. How do you prepare for something like that? Richard John, you don't. Emma, not fully. But you act. If you're on the coast, move now. If you're inland, stay put and help where you can. The debris factor makes this even deadlier. Imagine a wall of water laced with steel beams shattered, boats and uprooted trees. It's a wrecking ball. That's why high ground or strong buildings are your best bet. And the speed 700 miles per hour means it's crossing the Atlantic in a blink. It hit Canada, and the US is next, maybe. In 30 minutes or less, Emma Collins. Alex, we're committed to staying on air, bringing updates as they come. Our chopper team, DJ Skyhawk and his crew, should be reporting soon, hopefully with a clearer view of the coast. We're also waiting for more details from Canada. What's the damage? What's the human toll? It's a lot to process, but we're here for our listeners. Richard John. That's right, Emma. To everyone out there, whether you're fleeing, hiding, or watching from safety, you're not alone. Horizon Radio is your lifeline. If you're evacuating, keep moving, run, climb, fight for every inch. If you're safe, pray for those in harm's way and prepare to help when the time comes. This is a dark hour, but humanity's strength shines. Brightest in moments like this. Stay tuned, stay strong, and may we all find the courage to face what's coming, this catastrophic wave, unleashed by a massive underwater landslide off Greenland, has already devastated parts of Canada and Iceland. And it's now charging toward the U.S. East Coast, Western Europe, Africa, and beyond. The scale of this disaster is beyond comprehension, waves reaching heights we never thought possible, moving at speeds that defy belief. We're here to keep you informed, to share the stories of those fighting to survive, and to guide you through. This dark hour, co-host Emma Collins. Alex, the updates are coming in fast, and they're chilling. Just minutes ago, we confirmed that the tsunami slammed into St. Pierre and Miquelon with a wave height of 850 feet. 850 feet! That's nearly double the initial projections. At the same time, another arm of this monster wave hit Iceland's west coast, with reports suggesting it reached over 1,000 feet. Reykjavik, the capital, is said to be gone, swallowed by the sea. I can barely say it. Reykjavik sits 220 feet above sea level, and a 100-foot wave just erased it. We're praying everyone got out, but the loss is unimaginable. Richard John. It's heartbreaking, Emma. And now, Nova Scotia is next in the crosshairs any minute now. It'll face a wave that could top 1,000 feet. Nova Scotia's average elevation is just 200 feet, so the math is grim. This isn't just a wave. It's a liquid apocalypse, capable of wiping entire towns off the map. From there, the tsunami will whip around the coast and slam into the northeastern U.S. Maine, Massachusetts, New York, New Jersey, with a wave that experts now predict could reach 1,500 feet. That's taller than the Empire State Building. Emma, it's a number that feels like it belongs in a sci-fi movie, not real life. Emma Collins, I'm still processing the historical comparison you mentioned earlier. Alex, the 1958 Lituya Bay tsunami in Alaska, where a landslide triggered a wave that hit 1,720 feet. That's the tallest ever recorded, but it was confined to a narrow fjord affecting a sparsely populated area. This tsunami is global, hitting densely populated coasts with millions of lives at stake. The fact that we're talking about a 150-foot wave here, it's terrifyingly close to that record, and the impact will be far more devastating. Richard John. You're right, Emma. I'm ashamed to admit I'd never heard of Lituya Bay before. It's a humbling reminder of how rare and unpredictable these events are. But what's happening now is on another level. This tsunami isn't just one wave. It's a series of them, and the waves behind the first are building, like an accordion compressing. As the leading wave slows near the coast, the ones behind it pile up, squeezing all that energy into a tighter space. That's why predictions have skyrocketed from a few hundred feet to 1,500 feet for the U.S. East Coast. It's a perfect storm of physics and geography, and we're all caught in its path. Emma Collins. Let's break down the path of this tsunami, because it's not just the Northeast in danger. After Nova Scotia, the wave will hit the U.S. Then, keep moving. Can you walk us through where it's headed and why it's so relentless? Richard John. Absolutely, Emma. Picture the tsunami's energy radiating out from the North Atlantic, where the Greenland landslide set it off. It's like ripples in a pond, but these ripples are monstrous, spanning thousands of miles. Canada got hit first Newfoundland with a 700-foot wave, SDT. Pierre with 850 feet because it's closest to the source. Iceland across the ocean took a 1000-foot hit. Now the wave is curving around Nova Scotia, intensifying as it navigates the coast like a river bending sharply. That's when it'll smash into the northeastern U.S., likely with that 150-foot monster wave. From there, the energy keeps spreading. The wave front, hundreds of miles wide, will bend and refract around the Earth's curvature, moving south. Along the U.S. coast, the Carolinas, Georgia, and Florida are next in line, potentially facing waves of 1,000 to 1,200 feet, depending on local topography. Low-lying areas like the Florida Keys or Savannah's coastal plains are especially vulnerable. Water could surge 100 miles inland or more. The wave won't stop there. It'll keep going, hitting the Caribbean, Jamaica, Cuba, the Bahamas, then Venezuela, Brazil, and other parts of South America. Across the Atlantic, Western Europe, think Ireland, Portugal, Spain, and West Africa, from Morocco to Senegal, are bracing for impact, likely an hour or two after the U.S., giving them a bit more time to evacuate. Emma Collins. That extra time for Europe and Africa is a small mercy, but the scenes there mirror what we're seeing here: panic, gridlock, people running for their lives. I keep thinking about SDT, Pierre, with its 6,500 residents. It's a small community, and we're praying they all got out. Nova Scotia, though, has over 1 million people, and the clock is ticking. What can people do right now to maximize their chances? Richard John, it's all about action, Emma. If you're within 50 miles of the coast, evacuate now. Don't wait. For confirmation or one last photo of the ocean, grab your loved ones and go. Use any means possible. Car, bus, bike, or just run. Highways like I-95 and the New Jersey Turnpike are jammed, so if traffic's not moving, abandon your car. Pack light water, a phone, sturdy shoes, and head inland or to high ground. If you're in a rural area, find a hill or ridge and climb. In cities like Boston, New York, or Miami, seek tall, concrete buildings, office towers, parking garages, and get to the top floors. Stay away from windows and brace for impact. If you can't evacuate, vertical evacuation is your last hope. Find a sturdy, multi-story building, ideally concrete, and climb as high as you can. Barricade doors with furniture, avoid glass, and hold on. If you're caught in the open, grab something that floats: a log, a plastic bin, a car hood, and protect your head from debris with your arms or a backpack. Staying calm is tough but critical. Panic wastes energy you need to survive. After the first wave, don't move. More waves could follow, and they might be bigger. Wait for an official all clear before leaving your spot. Emma Collins. And it's not just the water, Alex. This wave is carrying debris, cars, trees, shipping containers, turning it into a wrecking ball. The predictive models you mentioned paint a devastating picture. Can you walk us through what happens when a 150-foot wave hits the U.S. East Coast? Richard John, it's hard to fathom, Emma, but let's try. When a wave this size hits, the initial impact is like a nuclear blast without the radiation. Anything within 10 miles of the coast, homes, businesses, schools, will be pulverized, reduced to rubble in seconds. The water, moving at 700 miles per hour, carries debris that acts like a battering ram. Shattered buildings, vehicles, even boulders, all smashing through anything in their path. The inundation will be staggering. Water could surge 50 to 100 miles inland, or more in low-lying areas like river valleys or coastal plains. Cities like New York, Boston, Philadelphia, and Miami will face unprecedented damage, with entire neighborhoods underwater. Imagine Manhattan's skyscrapers, icons of human engineering, battered by a wall of water taller than most of them. Subways. Streets and infrastructure will be flooded potentially for weeks. In rural areas, farms, forests, and small towns could be erased, leaving behind a landscape of mud and wreckage. The human toll, millions displaced, countless lives at risk, is almost too much to bear. Low-lying regions, like parts of New Jersey or the Carolinas, are particularly vulnerable, as the flat terrain offers little resistance to the flood. Even elevated areas won't be safe if they're near the coast. A 150-foot wave could overtop cliffs and hills that seemed secure. Emma Collins. The scope of this is overwhelming, Alex. I keep thinking about the people in those cities and towns' families. Kids, grandparents fighting to get out. We've heard stories of heroism. Neighbors helping neighbors. Strangers sharing rides. First responders risking everything. It's a reminder of what makes us human, even in the face of this monster. Richard John. Absolutely, Emma. Those stories are the light in this darkness. In Nova Scotia, volunteers are guiding people to evacuation zones. In New York, firefighters are clearing paths through gridlock. In small towns, farmers are opening their land to refugees from the coast. It's chaos, but it's also community. If you're safe, think about how you can help later, donating, volunteering, or just listening to those who've lost everything. If you're in danger, keep fighting. Every step, every decision, could be the one that saves you. Emma Collins. We're also waiting for more details from Iceland and STT. Pierre. The idea that Reykjavik is gone, it's a gut punch. And Nova Scotia's about to face the same fate. How do we even begin to process this, Alex? Richard John. We process it by staying connected, Emma. By sharing information, by mourning together, by refusing to give up. The loss in Reykjavik is a tragedy, and we're praying for survivors who made it inland. Nova Scotia's next, and the million-plus people there are in our hearts. The waves speed over 700 miles per hour means there's no time to waste. But every person who escapes, every life saved, is a victory. We're also tracking the waves' path to Europe and Africa, where evacuation efforts are ramping up. They have a slight time advantage, but the threat is just as real, Emma Collins. Let's talk about the science one more time, because it's key to understanding why this tsunami is so relentless. You mentioned the accordion effect. Can you explain how that's driving these insane wave heights? Richard John. Sure, Emma. It's all about energy dynamics. When the Greenland landslide triggered the tsunami, it sent out a series of waves, not just one. In deep water, these waves spread out, moving fast, but staying relatively low. As they approach the coast, the ocean floor gets shallower, slowing the leading wave. The waves behind it, still moving at full speed, start to catch up, compressing, like an accordion. This piles up the water, focusing all that energy into a smaller space, which makes the wave grow taller, much taller. That's how we went from 700 feet in Newfoundland to 850 feet in STT. Pierre, and now potentially 1,500 feet for the U.S. The Atlantic's underwater topography, its ridges and trenches, acts like a lens, amplifying this effect. It's why the wave isn't losing power as it travels. It's gaining it, bending and refracting around the Earth's curves. Coastal features like bays or peninsulas can funnel the water even higher, especially in places like Boston Harbor or Long Island Sound. It's a brutal combination of physics and geography, And it's why this tsunami is a global game changer. Emma, Collins, Alex, we're committed to staying on air, bringing every update as it comes. Our chopper team, DJ Skyhawk and his crew, should check in soon with a view from above the U.S. coast. We're also waiting for more from Canada and Iceland. What's the damage? What's the human cost? It's a lot, but we're here for our listeners every step of the way. Richard John. That's right, Emma. To everyone out there, whether you're running, hiding, or watching from safety, you're not alone. Horizon Radio is your anchor in this storm. If you're on the coast, keep moving, climb, run, fight for every inch. If you're safe, hold space for those in harm's way and prepare to help when the time comes. This catastrophic event, triggered by a massive underwater landslide off Greenland, has already left a trail of destruction in Canada, Iceland, and St. Pierre and Miquelon. Now, it's bearing down on the U.S. East Coast, Western Europe, Africa, and beyond, with wave heights that defy belief. 100 feet in Nova Scotia, 1,500 feet projected for the U.S. This is a disaster of unprecedented scale, and we're here to guide you through it, sharing every update, every story, and every shred of hope we can find. Co-host Emma, Collins, Alex, we just got devastating news. The Mega Tsunami has struck Nova Scotia, and early reports estimate the wave reached 1,000 feet, matching the catastrophic height that obliterated Reykjavik, Iceland, just hours ago. This is happening in real time, and the details are scarce. But we're hearing unconfirmed reports of entire coastal communities swallowed by the sea. Nova Scotia, with over 1 million residents, is facing unimaginable loss, and the wave is now racing toward the U.S. Northeast. I'm struggling to find words. Alex, this feels like the end of the world. Richard John. It's surreal, Emma. A 1,000-foot wave is beyond comprehension, a wall of water taller than most skyscrapers, moving at 550 miles per hour, obliterating everything in its path. Nova Scotia's coastline, with its fishing villages, historic towns, and bustling cities like Halifax, is likely unrecognizable. We don't yet know the full extent of the damage or the human toll, but we're working tirelessly to bring you accurate information as it comes in. What we do know is that this tsunami is relentless, and the U.S. East Coast, Maine, Massachusetts, New York, New Jersey is next, with a wave that could reach 1,500 feet. That's a number that stops your heart, Emma, Collins. Let's talk about what makes the tsunami so deadly, because it's not just the height. You've mentioned the speed and the multiple waves. Can you explain why there's so little time to react and what people need to do right now? Richard John. Absolutely, Emma. The science behind this tsunami is what makes it a nightmare. In deep water, tsunami waves travel fast up to 700 miles per hour, but stay low, often unnoticed. As they approach shallow coastal waters, the ocean floor rises, slowing the wave's speed to hundreds of miles per hour, while causing its height to increase exponentially. By the time it hits land, it's a towering wall of water, moving at 200 to 300 miles per hour. At that speed, if you see the wave, it's already too late to run. For the U.S. East Coast, we're expecting the wave to be visible only minutes before impact, leaving virtually no time to react. That's why evacuation is critical, and it has to happen now. If you are in an evacuation zone anywhere within 50 miles of the coast, don't wait. Forget your belongings, your car's trunk full of keepsakes, or that favorite photo album. Your life is the only thing that matters. Get to high ground, get as far inland as possible, and do it immediately. Every second you delay brings you closer to disaster. We're seeing gridlock on every major highway, I-95, the New Jersey Turnpike, Route 1 in Florida, and it's a heartbreaking reality. Traffic jams are predictable in a crisis this big, but they're deadly if you're trapped in gridlock. Listen carefully. Abandon your vehicle. I know it's hard to leave your car behind, but it's not worth your life. Grab essentials water, a phone, sturdy shoes, and start moving. Find a sturdy building, ideally made of reinforced concrete, at least several stories tall. Get to the highest floor possible, or better yet, the roof. These aren't perfect solutions, but they're your best shot at survival, even in a strong building. The force of a 1500 foot wave will be immense. Expect violent shaking, possible collapse, and a flood that could fill lower floors in seconds. Anchor yourself to something solid, like a heavy piece of furniture, and hold on tight. Emma Collins. And it's not just one wave, Alex. You've stressed that this tsunami is a series of waves, each potentially worse than the last. That's terrifying. People might think they're safe after the first hit. Richard John. Exactly, Emma. This isn't a single event. It's a barrage. Tsunamis often come in sets, with aftershocks or surges hitting for hours after the initial wave. The first wave, devastating as it is, might not be the biggest. Subsequent waves, compressed by the accordion effect we talked about, could be even taller and more destructive. In Nova Scotia, the 1000 foot wave is likely just the beginning, and the U.S. could see multiple waves, some approaching 1,500 feet. Even if the first wave spares your location, stay put. Don't go back to check your home or retrieve belongings. The next wave could catch you off guard, and the receding waters are just as deadly. As the water retreats, it pulls back debris, cars, trees, buildings, shipping containers, turning them into lethal projectiles. This scouring action destabilizes structures, undermines foundations, and can trap survivors in collapsing buildings or suck them out to sea. It's a double-edged sword. The incoming flood and the retreating torrent are both killers. If you're caught in the water, grab anything that floats: a log, a plastic bin, a car hood, and protect your head from debris with your arms or a backpack. Staying calm is critical. Panic burns energy you need to survive. Emma Collins. Alex. You compared this to the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, which I remember as a kid. It was horrifying. How does this event stack up against that tragedy? Richard John. The 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami was a tragedy of unimaginable scale. Emma. It killed about 228,000 people across 14 countries, with waves up to 100 feet in some areas. The destruction entire. Villages erased, families torn apart, was seared into our collective memory. I was young too, and those images on TV scared me for years. But as devastating as that was, this mega tsunami is on a different plane. The 2004 waves were massive, but they pale next to the 1,000 foot wave that hit Nova Scotia, or the 150 foot monster projected for the U.S. East Coast. The 2004 tsunami was triggered by a 9.1 magnitude earthquake, spreading across a vast ocean. This event, caused by a landslide, is amplified by the Atlantic's unique bathymetry. Its underwater ridges and trenches act like a lens, focusing the wave's energy. Canada's 700 to 1,000 foot waves and Iceland's 1,000 foot devastation are a harrowing preview. The global reach of this tsunami, hitting the Americas, Europe, Africa, and beyond, combined with its speed and height, means the death toll could climb into the millions, dwarfing 2004's losses. We're witnessing a catastrophe unfold in real time, and the only advantage is the limited warning time we've had. Emma Collins. Millions. That number is staggering, Alex. I keep thinking about Nova Scotia, over 1 million people, and now facing a 1,000 foot wave. Reykjavik's loss is a gut punch. An entire capital city gone. What can we expect when this hits the U.S.? Richard John. The U.S. East Coast is staring down a nightmare, Emma. When a 1500 foot wave hits, the initial impact will be like a bomb going off. Anything within 10 miles of the coast homes, businesses, schools will be pulverized into rubble. The water, laced with debris like cars, trees, and steel beams, will act as a battering ram, compounding the destruction. Cities like New York, Boston, Philadelphia, and Miami will face staggering damage, skyscrapers battered, subways flooded, infrastructure crippled. The inundation could reach 50 to 100 miles inland, especially in low-lying areas like New Jersey's coast or Florida's plains, displacing millions. The human toll will be immense, families separated, communities erased, lives lost on a scale we can't fully grasp. First responders are already stretched thin, guiding people to safety or clearing gridlock. The economic and emotional scars will last generations. But amid the chaos, we're seeing heroism, neighbors carrying elderly, residents, strangers sharing supplies, firefighters risking everything. It's a reminder that even in our darkest hour, humanity shines through. Emma Collins. Those stories keep us going, Alex. What about preparation for the aftermath? What should people do once the waves stop? Richard John. The aftermath will be as dangerous as the impact, Emma. Don't return to coastal areas until authorities give the all-clear. Hidden dangers like unstable buildings, live power lines, and contaminated water will be everywhere. Check for injuries and apply first aid if you can, but don't risk moving until it's safe. Report damage to local officials and conserve resources: water, food, blankets, since help might take days to arrive. If you're safe inland, prepare. To support relief efforts, donate supplies, volunteer, or offer shelter. This is a marathon, not a sprint, and we'll need to rebuild together. Emma Collins. Alex, we're staying on air, bringing every update from Nova Scotia, the U.S., and beyond. Our chopper team, DJ Skyhawk and crew, should report soon with a view from above. We're also tracking Europe and Africa, where evacuations are underway. This is a global fight, and we're in it with our listeners, Richard John. That's right. Emma, to everyone out there running, hiding, or watching from safety, you're not alone. Horizon Radio is your lifeline. If you're on the coast, keep moving, climb, run, fight for every inch. If you're safe, hold space for those in harm's way and prepare to help. This is humanity's greatest test, and we'll face it with courage, compassion, and unbreakable resolve. Stay tuned, stay strong, and may we all find the strength to endure. Mega Tsunami, unleashed by a colossal underwater landslide off Greenland, has already devastated Canada, Iceland, and St. Pierre and Miquelon, with waves reaching 1,000 feet, and more. Moments ago, we received the horrific confirmation that this monstrous wave, 150 feet tall and moving at over 700 miles per hour, has smashed into Boston and Rhode Island, obliterating everything in its path. We've lost contact with our chopper team, DJ Skyhawk and his crew, who are hovering over Boston, battling deadly winds. This is a dark hour, and we're here to keep you informed, to mourn with you, and to guide those still fighting to survive. Co-host Emma Collins. Alex, I'm shaking. The footage we just saw, it's beyond words. A 1500 foot wave, moving at the speed of a commercial airliner, crashing into Boston. It didn't just flood the city. It exploded upon impact, flattening buildings, tearing through streets, and swallowing entire neighborhoods. And DJ Skyhawk. We heard his final moments, his chopper spinning out of control, caught in the tsunami's shockwave. I can't process it, Alex. Boston is gone, Rhode Island is devastated, and this wave is now racing toward New York, where millions are still trapped in gridlock or running for their lives. Richard John. It's a nightmare, Emma, and it's unfolding. In real time. That wave, 1,500 feet tall, taller than the Empire State Building, was moving at 700 miles per hour, faster than a jet plane. To put that in perspective, imagine a wall of water, laced with debris like cars, trees, and steel beams, hitting land with the force of a meteor strike. The air pressure ahead of the wave, like an F5 tornado, flattened structures miles inland. Before the water even arrived, the footage we saw shared across the internet looks like something from a dystopian film, but it's real. Boston's iconic skyline, its historic streets, its vibrant communities erased in minutes. Emma Collins, and the loss of DJ Skyhawk's team. I keep replaying his voice, joking about buffalo chicken dip one moment, then screaming as the wave hit. They were trying to capture this for us, to show the world what was coming, and now, they're gone. It's a gut punch, Alex, but it's also a reminder of the stakes. This tsunami is merciless, and it's not done. New York is next, then New Jersey, the Carolinas, Florida, and beyond. Can you break down the mechanics of this wave's power? Why is it so destructive? Richard John, let's dive into it, Emma, because understanding the science might help people grasp the urgency. A 1,500-foot wave traveling at 700 miles per hour isn't just water, it's a wall of kinetic energy, like a liquid freight train. In deep water, tsunami waves move fast, but stay low, often invisible. As they hit shallow coastal waters, the ocean floor rises, slowing the wave's speed to 200,300 miles per hour, but causing its height to skyrocket. This wave's energy, amplified by the Atlantic's underwater ridges and trenches, gets compressed, piling up into a towering monster. When it hits land, it doesn't just wash over, it detonates, releasing energy equivalent to thousands of bombs. The air pressure ahead of the wave is a killer in itself. Moving at 700 miles per hour, it creates a shockwave strong enough to shatter windows, topple buildings, and hurl debris miles inland before the water arrives. Winds exceeding an F5 tornado over 300 miles per hour rip through everything. Then comes the water, carrying a deadly payload, shattered homes, vehicles, shipping containers, even boulders, all acting as a battering ram. In Boston, this force leveled skyscrapers, flooded subways, and turned streets into rivers of wreckage. The inundation water, surging 50 to 100 miles inland, has reshaped the landscape, leaving behind a wasteland of mud and debris. Emma Collins. And it's not just one wave, Alex. We've talked about the multiple waves, the aftershocks. That's what makes this so terrifying. People might survive the first hit, only to be caught by the next. Richard John. Exactly, Emma. This tsunami is a series of waves, each potentially deadlier than the last. The first wave, as catastrophic as it was in Boston, is followed by surges compressed by the accordion effect. As the leading wave slows near the coast, the waves behind it pile up, focusing energy into a tighter space, growing taller and more destructive. In Nova Scotia, the 1,000-foot wave was just the start, and Boston's 1,500-foot wave could be followed by even bigger surges. These aftershocks can hit for hours, so even if you survive the first wave, don't move. Stay on high ground or in a sturdy building until authorities give the all clear. The receding waters are just as deadly. As the tsunami retreats, it pulls back everything in its path: buildings, vehicles, trees, turning them into lethal projectiles. This scouring action erodes foundations, collapses structures, and can drag survivors out to sea. If you're caught in the water, grab anything that floats a log, a plastic bin, a car hood, and shield your head from debris with your arms or a backpack. Staying calm is critical. Panic wastes energy you need to fight for your life. Emma. Collins, Alex, the emergency alert we just broadcast was chilling. It's the final warning for the U.S. East Coast, with impact expected in minutes. What are the key actions people need to take right now, especially with gridlock trapping so many? Richard John, time is the enemy, Emma, and the alert was clear. If you're anywhere from Florida to Maine, you're in imminent danger. Evacuate now, don't hesitate. Get as far inland as possible, ideally 50 miles or more, and seek high ground. Hills, ridges, or tall buildings are your best bet. Gridlock is a nightmare. I-95, the New Jersey Turnpike, and countless other roads. Or parking lots. If you're stuck in traffic, abandon your vehicle. I know it's hard to leave your car, but it offers no protection against a 1500-foot wave. Grab essentials: water, a phone, sturdy shoes, and run. If you can't get inland, find a sturdy, multi-story building, preferably reinforced concrete or steel framed, like an office tower or parking garage. Get to the highest floor or the roof if possible, and stay away from windows. Anchor yourself to something solid, like a heavy desk, and brace for violent shaking or collapse. These are last resort options, but they could save your life. If you're outside with no shelter, look for anything that floats: a downed tree, a plastic bin, and hold on. Never, ever go to the beach to watch the wave. Curiosity could be fatal. Emma Collins. And the alert mentioned helping others' families. With kids, the elderly, people with disabilities. That's so important in a crisis like this, Richard John. Absolutely, Emma. If you're able, check on neighbors or strangers. Offer a ride, carry a bag, or guide someone to safety. In New York, we're hearing stories of subway workers leading passengers to higher platforms, of teachers shielding students as they flee schools. These acts of kindness are the heartbeat of humanity, shining through the chaos. If you're safe inland, prepare to support relief efforts later, donating supplies, volunteering, or opening your home to those who've lost everything. Emma Collins. Alex, the loss of DJ Skyhawk's team is weighing on us. Their final moments trying to capture the wave, joking to keep spirits high, then fighting to survive hit hard. What happened, and what does it tell us about the dangers even above the wave? Richard John, it's devastating, Emma. DJ Skyhawk and his crew were hovering over Boston, aiming to show the world the tsunami's approach. Their chopper was caught in the wave's shockwave winds over 300 miles per hour, stronger than any hurricane. DJ's last words, shouting about losing control, paint a tragic picture. Their pilot, incapacitated after heavy drinking, left DJ at the helm, unprepared for the gusts. The chopper spun out, plunged into the wave, and vanished. It's a stark reminder, even airborne, you're not safe. The tsunami's winds can knock planes and helicopters out of the sky, and the wave's reach is unforgiving. Emma Collins. It's a tragedy, and it underscores the chaos on the ground. DJ mentioned people running in the wrong direction, toward the tsunami, and others looting, like the guy with a cart full of stolen goods from Walmart. It's disheartening to hear about crime in a moment like this, Richard John. It's a sad reality, Emma. Panic brings out the best and worst in people. Some are risking their lives to help others, while others exploit the crisis, looting stores or preying on the desperate. DJ's report of a man stealing mops and other goods likely to sell amid the coming humanitarian crisis is a low point. But we also heard about emergency services. those stretch thin, trying to guide evacuations. Police and firefighters are out there, clearing paths, saving lives, even as the wave closes in. Their courage is what we need to focus on, not the looters. Emma Collins, Alex, the tsunami's already hit Maine, and now Boston and Rhode Island. New York is next, and the alert said impact is minutes away. What can we expect when this 1500-foot wave hits? Richard John, New York, is facing a catastrophe of biblical proportions. Emma, a 1500-foot wave will hit Manhattan, Brooklyn, and the surrounding areas like a sledgehammer. Skyscrapers, symbols of human ingenuity, will be battered with lower. Floors flooded and windows shattered by the shockwave. The subway system will be inundated, potentially for months. Low-lying areas like Long Island and parts of New Jersey will see water surge 100 miles inland, erasing towns and displacing millions. The debris cars, buses, even ships will turn the flood into a grinding machine, pulverizing everything. The human toll will be staggering, with gridlock trapping countless people in harm's way. Emma Collins, and it's not just New York. The wave will keep moving south Philadelphia, D.C., the Carolinas, Florida, then the Caribbean, South America, Europe, and Africa. This is a global disaster, Richard John. Right, Emma. The wave's energy, radiating like ripples in a pond, will hit the entire U.S. East Coast, then Central and South America, places like Jamaica, Venezuela, Brazil. Across the Atlantic, Ireland, Portugal, and West Africa are bracing for impact, with slightly more time to evacuate, but no less danger. Each coastline will face waves of 1,000 to 1,500 feet, depending on local topography. The global reach, combined with the wave's speed and multiple surges, makes this a defining moment for humanity. Emma Collins, Alex, we're staying on air, bringing every update as it comes. We're waiting for details from Maine, Boston, and now New York. Our thoughts are with those fighting to survive, and we're here to be their voice. What's next for our listeners? Richard John, for those in the danger zone, keep moving, run, climb, fight for every inch. If you're safe, prepare to help. Donate, volunteer, or simply listen to those who've lost everything. Horizon Radio is your lifeline, and we'll keep broadcasting through the chaos. This is our darkest hour, but it's also when we show who we are: resilient, compassionate, unbreakable. Stay tuned, stay strong, and may we all find the courage to face what's next.